Are we live?
No video.
At this time, I'd like to call the November 8th County Council meeting. Kim Meredith is sick tonight, and I'll be overseeing the meeting. We want to wish her speedy recovery. As Commissioner Don Adams, I understand he was at the Commissioners' meeting Monday. Double knee replacement last week. Good for him. At this time, I want to call upon Troy to do the pledge and Chip to do the prayer.
Everybody stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we just pause to give thanks for this opportunity to come and do the business of the people. We thank you for this wonderful, beautiful Indian summer day that we've had. It's been a blessing, and it's good for our farmer friends to complete their harvest. Lord, we thank you for our public safety officials and ask that you watch over them as they continue to do their task and protect us all on a daily basis. Now grant us a spirit of humility as we go about the people's business and help us to make the best decisions for all. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I'd like to note that all is present except Kim, and Melissa is running a few minutes late, so she'll be joining us in a little bit. We've all read the minutes from September 13th, October 2nd, and October 23rd. Everybody have time to read those? Do I have a motion to approve?
Brian Culp will make that motion.
Troy Sprinkle, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
We just need a motion to accept the treasurer's report is included in the packet.
In our packet, we received a report from the treasurer. I need a motion to accept that.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Jason Maxwell. Second.
I'll second. Chip.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, going to additional appropriations, county highway.
Justin Schneck, my desk.
Justin, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Justin Schneck, county engineer. Been with the county for a little over 2 months, since the end of August. I'm here asking, several months ago, we had a motorist leave the roadway and damage some decorative railing at the I-69 Henderson Ford interchange. This railing, we submitted that through the motorist insurance and received a quote from the contractor in the amount of $32,500 to fix that. The motorist insurance then cut us a check, which we brought to the treasurer, deposited it into our cash fund, and now we're just asking for additional appropriation to place that into our contractual services to hire the contractor to repair that decorative railing.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve that additional appropriation.
Chip Keller?
I'll second it.
Troy Sprinkle? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried, 5-0. Going to transfers, treasurer's office. Terry Cleveland.
So sorry, it's just right out of.
Did your diamond drop?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, you got our attention.
Okay, now I got your attention. I'm glad. Okay. I know, just throwing stuff everywhere. Okay. I need to transfer some money for my part-time seasonal person. She normally just works the spring about a month, and then in the fall, just a couple weeks. But I have some people that are going to be out for medical reasons, one for 12 one for 12 weeks, and I've got another one. She just told me she thought it was going to be longer than the 3 to 4 weeks. So I need to put some money in her pot so I can pay her. I don't think there's anything sitting there now. So it's coming from all the different fronts, from postage, I have 1,000. From travel and lodging, I've got, I went ahead and put $931.40. Equipment, I had to change that, equipment rental, I had to change that amount to $1,390. I didn't realize we were going to get our new postage machines, so that raised the rental on that. And then I'm taking from instructions and education, $1,895, and then from equipment, $2,600, for a total of $7,816.40.
Any questions, comments, motions?
I'll make the motion to approve that transfer.
Troy Sprinkle makes a motion to approve the transfer.
I'll second.
Jason Maxwell seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carried, 5-0. Commissioners?
I know this is short notice, but how do I get an additional for a new microphone? This one's dented. This is just a request to transfer to settle up the acquisition of property up at Waverly Park. This has been ongoing, and this started before I even became a commissioner. And if you look at the farmers' faces, is it any indication that it's going to be a cold winter? Didn't know.
One has said his is coming off tomorrow.
Yeah. Any questions? Thank you.
Motion?
Brian Culp will make that motion.
Brian Colt makes that motion that we transfer $65,709.23.
I'll second it.
Troy Sprinkle makes a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, 5-0. Highway Department? Would you tell us a little bit about yourself, background?
Sure.
I love your story.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Martinsville High School graduate of 2009. Went to Purdue University after that got my bachelor's in civil engineering with a concentration in structures. In the last 9 years, I was a design consultant for a private consultant doing NDOT work, LPA work, local work on bridges, roads, and trails around the state of Indiana. And now I'm lucky enough to be your county engineer, so.
We're lucky to have you.
Well, thank you very much. He gets me every time with that, so. Yep.
We've heard it before.
He doesn't quit.
Okay, tell us about your transfer.
Yeah, anyway, I'm up here. We currently have a line item in our MVH restricted fund of $150,000 dedicated for a small structure replacement project. Due to the lack of certain personnel in the highway department over the last year, we haven't had the opportunity to plan for such project to put those funds to use. However, me coming into the department, I've found that we do not have an updated small structure inventory for all the culverts across the county. Traditionally, these are performed every 4 to 5 years, and our last one was performed in 2015, so it is over 8 years old. We're due for a new one. So this request is to move these funds to contractual services so we can hire an engineering consultant to perform those inspections so we can plan for the replacement and rehab of our small structures accordingly moving forward.
What's the time frame on something like that?
It's going to be about a 6-month project for them to get everything inspected, a report to put together, and then a final copy to hit my desk. So.
And how many structures throughout the county?
Right now, we have 360 accounted for in the 2015 report, but due to I-69 and some rather poor record keeping over the last few years, I'm anticipating that's going to jump to maybe 400-ish. And we're also including, the previous report only covered spans from 5 feet to 20 feet. I think it's a good idea to knock that down to 4 feet to include some of those structures we haven't captured previously. So that'll add to the number as well.
So this is a project that's gonna take 6 months.
Correct.
So it's gonna go over one budget year into the next. Is this
Yes, so my
150,000
plan
the
is
entire
to
amount?
get under contract, encumber this money to next year, and then use any remaining funds necessary from our 2024 contractual services line item.
You know the total cost of the project?
It will fluctuate because this contract is on a per structure cost basis. So right now, we're ballparking for around $200,000 for this.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions? Motion?
Chip Keller, make a motion to transfer the contractual services.
Brian Koppel, second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. Vax for Children, Board of Health.
I don't think there's anyone here to speak on that. Carol is no longer with the health department full-time. Yes, it was transferring from incentive supplies to a part-time RN.
Here's the letter. Given the situation, it's their special fund, and that they're experiencing a vacancy in the person that would normally present this. Do we want to go ahead and discuss it? It's for it's for vaccination supplies for children.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. So the
The
current.
person that normally would make this presentation before us tonight is no longer with
Oh,
us.
she resigned.
And since it's a transfer from one of their special funds, do we want to go ahead and hear this? Is everybody comfortable?
If it's still needed, or if you think it's not needed, or, I mean,
Okay, come forward.
transfer.
It's a transfer, so I'm not.
Let's go ahead and do it.
Transfer to clean up a budget.
Okay, then let's-
Yeah, so some of these funds, as things come and things are not used, and then you look and where is it? And it's one of those, you know, so Carol would say, yeah, and I just, yeah, that makes sense. So whether that was a month ago or what have you. So, yeah, the funding's there. So it's just asking permission to
Yeah.
appropriate it under the appropriate lineage.
So it's taken it from supplies to part-time nurse.
No, other way around.
Other way around.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. From part-time nurse to incentive supplies, $5,000.
I'll make the motion to approve the transfer.
Troy Sprinkle, second by Jason Maxwell.
Thank you.
Vote. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you.
So this will be the second one to resign here within 3 or 4 months. I mean, I mean, how concerning is that to you as head of the department? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean.
Right.
I feel like
So
you guys are
we had
struggling.
one that left for some family reasons, her father's health and some things and some custodialship and so, okay. And she said no hard feelings, she loved the job. Anyway, Carol was essentially offered a job for about twice the salary. So tough to compete with. And so, yeah, I'd like to think I'm not running them off, stinking them out or something like that. But, so we posted a job. We're just closing it this week, I think, right? This will be our second week.
Can
And
we
so-
get Jeannie back to train again? I mean, who's going to train this person?
Yeah, we keep dipping into that well. And so the, Carol has agreed to be in some part-time to help with transition and thing. A lot of it is Excel, and so the candidate is, you know, familiar with Excel. And then we, you know, take it from there as far as what tends to come up quarterly and et cetera. So, yeah, that was very abrupt and So, yeah, I want to get some stability, which will come back to the, another agenda item not too far down the list here.
Okay.
I wish you luck with that
Thank you.
position.
Okay, next we go into resolution number 2023, approving a reserve policy and debt policy. Presenter is Linda Pruitt.
Does anyone have any questions? I mean, basically what this is, it's just setting a guardrail and guidelines. The county debt level would not exceed 3% of the gross assessed value or $2,500 per capita. It also authorizes the council as the body that would formally enter debt for the county.
What prompted these two policies? I mean, I think they're good things, but what prompted them? Was it?
I would say that would have to do with our bond rating. wouldn't
You
it?
want to tip your mic down a little bit, Linda?
Well, I've got my back up here.
When we started going through the bot processes and getting evaluated on our credit worthiness,
Just to
we
get
got asked a lot of questions about mechanisms in place. Basically, when we talk about guardrails, it's shows outside agencies, keeps our credit worthiness strong. And since we had no quote-unquote policy, get 7 new council members and 3 new commissioners, and they could do something totally opposite of what we're doing now at any level. And it's just kind of a checks and balances. And if a group were to push to come above these, it keeps us within the parameters as outlined here. If we have to go above them, then you'd have all kinds of special meetings, and Keith would have some really good articles to write.
So, yeah, I mean, I was reading through the reserve policy, and it talks about maintaining 35% of available funds. Has anyone done some calculations to say what that looks like?
It fluctuates.
Yeah, I mean, I know, so, okay.
This is something that probably should have been, what I'm finding in my capacity and as we start doing some of these bigger projects, and a lot of this probably should have been in place decades ago.
Yeah, no, I totally understand it, to make sure we get the best interest rate and the best bond available. I just want to make sure we
But it also
understand what-
protects the taxpayers, that a
Absolutely.
group doesn't go rogue. And, I mean, I think we've been all on the same page, and then we'll get into the presentation on the next bot. But we've worked ourselves into a hole that we're slowly working back out. I say slowly. There might be a taxpayer that would say entirely too fast. So this just helps to put parameters on projects that we stay within what is acceptable as being able to pay back our debt.
And where do these numbers come from as far as the percentages? Did they come from our
The end number will come based upon our
Well,
accounts.
the
but
percentages and the different.
But this is like a standard template that we went out and got help
Oh, okay.
through. Yeah,
Statutory.
right. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We went out and got help on what's proper. And
This is a good policy in place.
Yeah.
It is checks and balances.
Monday morning at your meeting.
She pulled that out of what the commissioner signed, but actually that's what needs signed.
So we need a motion to approve it.
Any other questions?
good questions.
Okay, a resolution number would be 2023-11-6, B as in boy.
8.
What is it?
Oh, she's reading.
Yeah, because that's.
Again, 2023-11-6, B as in boy.
Sorry, I thought you.
Okay. Oh, okay, so maybe we'll make that one 6B. So does this one need to be 8A then?
Do I hear a motion?
We approve resolution number 2023-11-6B.
Maxwell, motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Chip Keller, a second.
Chip Keller, seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
0, motion carried. This will come down the table to be signed. Just one blank lines.
Yeah, the next one will have a different number too.
Where at? Oh, well, here, your name's not even.
You don't have a page to sign in there?
On the one in our packet, our names are typed underneath where we sign, but this one come down the table is no names underneath.
Oh, okay, we can add those.
Yeah. The taxpayer petition.
Motor fuel budgeting program. Oh, it said commissioners on here though.
Chip, you hold those till the end of the meeting, right? Signed documents.
Josh came in the other day and
Okay,
told
we're
me
going to this one.
they needed to act on this, but not the agreement.
We'll just do it at the end.
We can just hold them all and just pass them down at the end.
Yeah, because this one just says commissioners.
Are we ready?
We number them afterwards. Yeah, we may have to number, well, but this one doesn't have the council names on it. We're going to have to find it. Yeah, you're ready to go on with
To
what
this one?
Zach's doing, yeah.
Okay, Zach, you want to take the floor?
Sure. Good evening, council. Zach Klutz with Taft. We're here to kind of talk about next steps on the courthouse renovation project. The steps we have done previously were all kind of preliminary. The preliminary determination hearings, louder, preliminary determination hearings that we conducted, and notice was given, and the time period has now lapsed, so we can now move forward with the underlying financing of the project. By way of background, the building corporation met earlier this evening and adopted a resolution to approve the lease agreement and also to authorize the issuance of bonds, so long as this body also approves and ratifies that decision. By way of summary, this project, the renovation of the courthouse, will be structured as a lease financing, so the title to the courthouse will be transferred to the building corporation. The building corporation will actually be the party issuing the bonds in the name of the county. The county will then do a property tax levy to pay the lease rental payments that the building corp will collect, and those lease rental payments will be used to pay the debt service on the bonds. We're now ready to move forward with that process. So the first item that I'd like to do is, you can't enter into a lease unless you receive a petition from 50 taxpayers within the county asking the county to move forward with this project and a lease financing. So I have a petition that's been certified by the county auditor showing that 58 signatures were gathered and 53 have been certified as owners of taxable real estate. Nothing more to do than maybe a motion to accept the petition for the record, and I can bring it back up so it can be included in the meeting minutes, if you don't mind.
Do we have a motion?
To accept that taxpayer petition.
I'll
Right.
second.
Have a motion and a second. Call for the question. All those in favor? Melissa Green has now joined us.
Sorry I'm late.
You're fine.
Aye.
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 Should I abstain or can I vote?
You
Because
can
I
abs-
walked in late.
Whatever you want.
I will say aye.
Aye. Motion 6-0, motion carried.
Thank you, council. Now that we have a taxpayer petition asking you to move forward with the lease, prior to 10 days before this meeting, we did publish notice that we would have a public hearing on the lease. For purposes of the public, the lease agreement includes 2 parcels. This building the administrative building will actually be leased as well as the courthouse. So the lease will encompass this building and the courthouse, and you may say, well, why this building as well? That way we can start paying lease rental payments right away, and you're not paying what's called capitalized interest, so extra interest. So we can start paying lease payments right away and avoid just wasted interest payments. So that's why there's 2 parcels as part of the lease. It will be for a 20-year term. We don't know what the annual lease rental payments will be, but they will not exceed $2.5 million, and it will be payable at a not-to-exceed amount of $1.25 million semi-annually. So those are the primary terms of the lease. I believe they were circulated. The statute provides that all persons are entitled to be heard at the hearing as to whether the execution of the lease is necessary and whether the rental is fair and reasonable for the proposed structure and system. So at this time, I would suggest that we open the public hearing up. We take any comments, and then I'll come back up and go through a few more steps.
So we need to close our regular council meeting.
Suspend it.
I'll make a motion to recess the council meeting and open the public hearing.
Are you getting this, Deb? Okay.
And I will second that motion.
I have a motion to recess the council meeting by Chip Keller, seconded by Troy Sprinkle. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried 6-0. Okay, now we will open up
Public hearing.
public hearing. Anyone wish to come forward? Hearing none.
Probably a motion to close the hearing and
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and re-enter the council meeting.
Second.
Motion by Chip Keller, seconded by Jason Maxwell. All those in favor?
Aye.
okay.
Against? Motion carried 6-0. Okay, we're back in the regular council meeting.
Okay. Before you is ordinance 2023-22, an ordinance of the County Council of Morgan County making a determination related to the courthouse project, authorizing the form and execution of lease, and approving the issuance of the bonds. I'll walk through at a high level the provisions of this ordinance and answer any questions, but I'll also pause here and tell you what next steps will be. If this ordinance is adopted, we will be going before the county commissioners at their next meeting. It's the county commissioners that also have to ratify and approve the lease, and it's actually the county commissioners as the executives that will sign the lease agreement. We will then not really have much more to do until we're ready to sell the bonds, and it looks like we're not going to take these bonds to market until January or February of next year. So we will have concluded by the November 20th meeting of the county commissioners, we will have concluded the authorization process for the lease and bond documents. There will be a 30-day notice period, and that will expire, December 21st. And then we'll pause for the end of the holidays and the end of the year, and then kind of pick back up January, February with the sale of the bonds. So this will be the last time we're before you for a while. So I'd like to walk through ordinance 2023-22. This ordinance recognizes that you've accepted the taxpayer petition and that you've conducted a public hearing. While you've already kind of made a determination of need for the project, this ordinance also formally approves the project and the scope of the project. This ordinance also approves the form of lease that you've been provided. This form of lease is, yes.
Hold on a minute. Is everybody with him?
Yes, I was just trying to see if I had a copy. I thought I was sharing one. Yeah, we'll share.
Copy of the lease or the ordinance?
The ordinance. I have it here.
You do?
I'm-
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Approves the project, it formally shows that you've accepted the petition. It approves the lease agreement. It also makes a recommendation by this body that the county commissioners execute the lease as the executives of the body. This also approves and ratifies the building corporation's decision earlier this evening to issue property tax lease rental bonds of 2024 in an amount not to exceed $26 million. And probably the more significant portion of this ordinance is in section 11, where this body pledges a property tax levy to the payment of the lease rental payments for a term of not to exceed 20 years. Property tax pledge will be used to pay the lease rentals in an amount not to exceed $1.25 million on a biannual basis. And finally, assuming the lease is signed by the commissioners, this authorizes the auditor to publish notice that the lease has been executed and to start the 30-day objection period. Again, that was a one-sentence summary of multiple paragraphs, but I'm happy to answer any questions or say, that didn't make sense. What do you mean by that? We're also happy to talk about the project generally as well. We have representatives here that could discuss the project if there's further questions.
Commissioner Brian, do you mind stepping up? Just kind of remind folks what all this project entails in terms, I know we say renovating the courthouse, but can you give an overview again of what we're doing and why we're doing it?
This is all part, if we go way back, we did a space study, and we are lacking space to function as a county. And I'm opposed, as are many, of having employees down in basements, such as the Toner Building and the courthouse where it is now, and even here. So due to the lack of space, due to the overall cost of everything, and the original courthouse that was started in 1857 and finished in 1859, the functionality of our courthouse is no longer functional. But in the interest of preserving our history and I would consider our national monument, our national, which is our courthouse, that is our county identity. Renovating it instead of razoring it and building a $100 million new facility elsewhere. I think it behooves all of us to renovate, and we do need the space. So when we talk about renovating, over the years that I was on the council, we replaced the heating and cooling only to have problems later with the pipes from the heating and cooling. I've been over there numerous times with pipes bursting above the heads of our employees and flooding the offices. Just the other day, the breakers went off in one of the offices, and it disrupts the court and the flow. The building needs a lot. We're planning on doing everything, and when I say everything, we're talking about plumbing, heating, cooling, windows, wiring, but yet keeping the aesthetics of the downtown and of our Capitol building, which I consider to be the courthouse.
So it's actually two things that they're signing that the commissioners always signs, and then the ordinance.
Thank you. And, I think one of the important parts too is just to remember it's going to help us to eliminate one building that we're maintaining right now, that Toner Building where the probation department is. And
Well, and I think even the reporter building,
pardon?
reporter building over time, new probation, prosecutor. Any other questions? At this time, I'd like to ask comments from the public about our project. Some people know that we're easily approachable and compassionate about this project, and we've got the drawings out here in the hallway, and some of us, especially the commissioners, have made talks to different civic organizations and chamber of commerce and things, and we just want the public to realize that a lot of time and thought and effort has been into the beginning of this project and making it as affordable as possible, and not building a Taj Mahal, but suiting our needs for the next 150 years that the great lady on the square has served us thus far. So me personally, and I think others share this from our hearts, that if you got questions, come talk to us. And I think you'll share our point of view on why this needs done. So if there be no more questions, I'm calling for a vote on this to approve the lease agreement.
This is the ordinance word.
It's just a public hearing on the lease agreement. So now we need the ordinance. of when it
Correct. This would be, we would request a call for the vote for ordinance number 2023-22.
Dash what?
22.
Yeah, it's on the top of the ordinance.
So I'm asking for a vote on what? The ordinance?
Ordinance number 2023-22.
Okay, so, do I hear a motion on ordinance number 2023-22?
Chip Keller will make the motion to approve ordinance 2023-22.
Do I hear a second?
Jason Maxwell seconds.
Jason Maxwell seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, council.
She wasn't here to vote on the reserve.
Health Department's director salary. This is something that we had some discussion on back at budget time, and a little bit between then and now as well.
Great, thank you.
Dr.
And so-
Broderick's back.
So upfront, I'll apologize for some of my naivety to the processes, and as I'm between health professionals, I appreciate that help of Linda and Dory to get me here. And so hopefully most of you got the email last night about the mini background history of that. And so one of the clarifications apparently that was brought to my attention, that some of the calculation that went forward was based on the current hourly time that the health department employees are at 35. And so if we take an amount and back it off, and that's where the 62-ish K come from. My intent, and having not really, thought otherwise and how it applied to that 35-hour, was that 80K did represent a 40-hour position. I mean, in my perfect world, I got a motivated individual that locks and unlocks, or unlocks and locks the door every day. In that range, to be able to attract, keep an individual that can administrate, now will probably be up to a dozen or 14 reports with part-time nurses, et cetera. But grow with this funding that we have in the state and interact with our community partners, et cetera. And so, yeah, that's at a MPH or MBA level. And so if I would like to say that if I did have the right candidate that appeared and they found 35 hours as an attractive to their life, but it appears that they could get the job done, that and be willing to go for the, well, I guess what would calculate to like roughly 70 grand salary, I'd be up for that if they were up to 35. So I guess how that process went and then got enacted upon, either I didn't understand how that was evolving, but here I am to ask for that line item. I think that's a reasonable number. I gave a bit of a justification in my communication last night regarding my experience with the Kendrick Foundation, how we hired someone from the state that had some background, and that individual is taking that foundation to new levels and really thriving for our county, and we want them to work together. So to come in at the 62, that's having at least two of the individuals, if not more of the nurses that are being paid more than to whom they report, et cetera. So it's my understanding that soon there's a portal from the state to be adjusting these types of things. Sound familiar? No? They're building, I mean, maybe it's just for this fund that we call 1161 to modify these things. That was from our regional representative from the state. This to be released this month. We'll see how that goes. But so, yeah, you said you had some discussion, Ms. Kivett, do you have some concerns, or should I know something about that discussion?
I just had a personal, did everybody get his add-on here and get to read it? In talking about who you hired for the Kendrick Foundation at 80,000, was that, a 35, how many hour a week was that based on?
She's on a 40.
40
And it
hour?
ended up being a bit more than that. But we don't have as strong of benefits either as the county, because there's only
Yeah.
2 employees, 2.5.
And I think what sets this position out from so many others is that it does require a master's degree. And I don't know.
Certainly, at least, I think it was worded as preferred. If somebody has a vast amount of experience in this line, I would certainly entertain that. But if somebody's got, 20 years of experience in something similar, it'd be hard to say, oh, well, you don't have a master's degree, but this 25-year-old out of school does. I'd probably
I get
lean
it.
with the experience.
So I sit on the WIS study with Brian and Troy, and WIS has came back about 62,000 on this position, correct, Doree?
Yeah, it was an executive one.
And Linda went in, we had some discussion, and she went in and based it on a 35-hour week and kind of come up with a 70,000 a year figure, as was stated earlier. But I lean towards Doc's add-on letter here about 80,000, and is it justifiable? I mean, I think Kendrick Foundation has probably searched long and hard for who they hired, and I question how many people out there, was there a lot of people that applied? Is it, you think it's
For
short
that-
in demand?
For that particular job, there was half dozen. And so your concern is that's a bit inflated, or?
No,
No.
I don't
it's
think
maybe-
so.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but I didn't, and so some of this is the timeline of things. So say, that okay, we got notice the end of May. We had to, this, what's some dollars, get it to the board, get it to you guys in July. And so, the range that we got from the, I'll say headhunters, but the talent people was in that, I'm sorry?
Recruiter?
Recruiters was in that 80 to 90 range.
Yeah,
And that
I
was 2
just
years ago.
feel that you might spend a lot of time and effort in posting the position and not getting any results because the pay is too low. I mean, if they can go somewhere else for easily 10,000 more, and we've seen that in our plan director and some other positions throughout the county, that,
So I'm glad to take any guidance. Yes, the funding is there. That's that 1161 fund.
Yeah.
And with all the moving parts that we had, that was a number I threw out there. And, maybe it's something that, does evolve. And, I don't want to lose someone because now they go to, a little bit bigger county. They go, or something similar. They go to Shelby County and it's $15,000 more or something.
well, just
Yeah.
like what you've
What I did with-
experienced just recently.
Right. And so, if the council is comfortable with, up to 90, again, I'm not naive on how you do this, but,
As far as process, does it need to go back through the job maintenance committee? And, I feel like you guys need to recommend that or reassess that or rewrite the job description and.
yeah, so we did look at the job description, beefed it up a little bit. We did since request Hendricks, which, I don't think they're twice the population, but maybe they're twice the food and vendors and some of that stuff. So they've got quite a staff. I heard they're hiring like 20 more employees, and their director's at 130. Yeah.
We did approve 80,000 at budget time for this
That is what's
position.
in the budget?
Yes.
Oh, well then, okay.
We're
That
there,
makes
yeah.
me feel more comfortable then, yeah.
And so I guess I was when the 62, I was interpreting as that's maybe the ceiling.
I
But no.
think the question was less about what's in the budget and more about setting a precedent for other people to
Directors.
look and say that the WIS study is not right and that they need to increase their salaries. I think that's,
If I
That's why it
could
needs to
speak
go
to
through the
that
job.
just for a minute, the people that are in the same pay band are myself, the EMA director, the 911 director, and EMS, and the highway superintendent. So if this takes place, then there will only be two that would be at the original level, and that would be me and EMA. So just keeping that in mind. Keeping in mind, too, that we did send this back another time, and it still came back within that level. So 911 has already, for next year, that salary will go up. EMS, we took both of those salaries up. Highway, you guys took that up. We took that up to start with, and then you guys did last year. So just to kind of give you an area of where that's at. So the majority of the salaries in that band are already,
At the top of the band?
they're, well,
at the top
no,
of
they're
it.
right in line with the band for the way that WIS was doing it, but we didn't look at the WIS study last year. We just did a flat raise.
So that, the top of that band is 63 or the top of that band is 80?
The top of that band is like 92.
92, okay, okay.
Right?
For this year, it would be, no, it would be 6880, 68,880 or something like that. And then when you do the calculations for a 7-hour day instead of an 8-hour day, that's when it becomes the
Okay.
That's what
62.
drops it.
So I don't disagree with him, but I felt like I had done everything that I could because we had sent it back twice. And so I suggested to Dr. Broderick that he come and appeal to you guys.
And so with this new position, you know, yeah, we can build on what's actually happening. Meaning, yeah, I think that the potential's there. It's just, we're getting launched here, and so we had to come up with a job description and the timeframe. Could we keep fluffing it up? Could I run it up to the next band? Perhaps. Do I have time for that? No. We know to post that next week if we can and get somebody hired by the, you know, and get them maybe working in January. So,
Do you see it ever becoming a 40-hour position?
I'm sorry.
Do you see it becoming a 40-hour position?
Yes, in that there was, particularly a lot of some of the interaction with our community partners, and, you know, you had evening meetings, and really want to throw social media presence and education, you know, have maybe even a once every week with the correspondent, a health thing, you know, so building all that outreach education, whether it be septic, vaccinations, food safety, travel, you know, whatever, just things that we haven't done. There's resources out there, but someone that can coordinate that, see that, envision that, grow it, is someone that we need that skill set, you know, and that's often, you know, at the, say, master's level or experience level.
Would it be a problem for the director to actually be a 40-hour position, even though the others in the department are 35?
It certainly could be, other than I'm a more position of it's leadership, and so when somebody, oh, that's not my job, well, yeah, it is, and I'm here, and the lights are on, and I need that done, and so I think sometimes some departments suffer from that a bit, and so yeah, ideally, now am I going to get this champion? I hope so. Sure makes my life easier. I don't have to be the heavy, but yeah, I see, and again, there's so much potential here. If you got somebody that's motivated enough, they could work 60 hours a week on it.
Remind us again, what are the qualifications for this job? What is it they have to have?
At least a bachelor's in science. I have it here somewhere. biology, ecology, nursing, public health, or quote, closely related field, master's preferred.
I am not surprised that we ended up presenting both to you, because this all was kind of happening at the same time. And we were trying to get some things in place for the health department as they were accepting this new money and that type of thing. So I'm not surprised that this happened. I think the decision is probably just, what route do you guys want to go tonight?
I guess I'm a little confused if it was approved budgetary-wise, but not risk-wise.
It's not going to get filled at the number it's at now. That's
At
the problem.
62, is that what you're saying?
Right.
Well, if we approved it in the budget as
Yeah.
80, then go up to 80, that's fine.
Yeah.
If it's in the budget, it's in the budget.
Does the state require it, or is it just it says suggested? So is it the counties that don't have this position, is it required? Because some positions are required.
It's not required,
But-
and you have a smaller county that maybe, a population of 15,000 or something up
Okay.
Jasper County or something, that it wouldn't justify. Some of those smaller population counties have 2 counties, and then that may justify it because that puts their population up to 50,000 or something.
So it kind of depends on the size of the county. And then the funding for this position, this $80,000 is coming out of line item 1161, which is state appropriated money, like it's money from the state for this.
The
specific-
1161 is the budget money, the
Yeah.
fund that was created for
Okay.
the funds that come from the state, and 1159 is the local.
Oh, okay, I
where
got
we've
you.
been.
Okay.
So 1161 was the new, now it was required that we create that fund for that. So yeah, it's new money from the state, it's not new money from the council, or from the county.
Yeah, yeah,
Jerry, what are your concerns? I see your eyes.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it's in the budget, I'm fine with the money.
Do you have a
As far as
concern?
the job maintenance committee, if you
No,
guys need to
because
do something.
I
then
do
it.
not, because I feel like things are in the works, and I feel like that we're gonna be taking a better look at that pay band next year, or even before then, because things are changing so much at a rapid pace that I don't have a concern with it. I agree with your concern that if they use the lower rate, then who are you gonna get to fill that?
We'll get who no one else wants.
Right.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry if my eyes were communicating something else. It wasn't on purpose.
Pressing a call.
Yeah.
I think my only concern is the 35/40 hour, with the rest of our directors being 40 hour, and this one not.
I mean, I have Dr. Broderick's view. I mean, if they're the head lead of this, then they're not punching a clock. They better be in there just making sure the job's done to the best of their ability. And if it's 40, it's 40. If it's 45 one week, then so be it. You don't understand. That may be different from the way I look at it, but yeah, to me, I mean, if you want to change it to 35 to 40, it's kind of it's a moot point. It's going to be the individual's attitude and how
And
they
I'd,
approach
yeah,
the
be
job.
curious to know, what the hours of some of these other directors put in. It's probably more than 40, and so often these positions are who they are and a reflection on them and pride, and we're gonna make this happen, and if I gotta do it late, if I gotta stay late, and so, yeah, that's the person I want. And so, but, I suppose if somebody says, well, I want 35 hours a week, I've been doing this 20-some years, and then I just got a grandbaby, and well, okay, but it's this. Perfect. If that opportunity's there, I don't think you'd have problem me spending less money. But yeah, I think I'd prefer going forward as a 40-hour.
And then another concern would be if you hired somebody with a master's degree, whether, I think some salary should be included because they do have a master's degree over someone maybe with a lot of just vast experience in that area. That's my personal.
So it wouldn't surprise me if, in case of Doree's process with looking at the bands evolves, this position evolves, that we might, present another, a more accurate job description. and change the view of that. I'm just not there yet. This is what it comes down to. Just not there yet. So, yeah, so I guess I was confused that 62 was approved, but 80 was approved. And so however that fits with you all, and so when I'm posting this job, or when the word gets around, because everybody knows, that's where we're at, that I'm not out of bounds. I don't, wish to do that for
There's no
my,
action to take then, right?
for my naivety.
Yeah,
It's in there.
It's already
approved at 80
approved.
in the budget.
We already decided it's not 62 was approved.
If it's in the budget at 80, then it's up to his discretion.
Yeah.
Post it.
We do need to have a clarification, because when Doree brought the Job Maintenance Committee and the job study from WIS,
I think it
you
was
approved it
35.
at the WIS recommendation.
Oh,
So the budget is there, that's the ceiling.
Well, then, that's why I think the Job Maintenance Committee needs to make another recommendation.
I think it needs to go back to the Job Maintenance Committee. I
We've
think
had
you
it
just need to
twice.
clarify that you are willing to pay that position 80,000 or whatever amount. We just need a clarification of what you want that salary set at for that position.
and
I want to set out what's in the budget. That's what I want to say.
Well, you want to put that in a motion?
They could have stipulations, like, 80,000 if they do have a master's degree, but another another if they don't.
I don't
How
wanna get into
important
the
is
weeds of
that?
micromanaging.
I don't
Well,
want to tie his hands
right,
and be
yeah.
micromanaging.
Yeah, thank you. It's a piece of paper. And so, yes, it denotes certain things. However, yeah, the right individual, it's got to fit a team. It's got to be able to lead a team. And so I'm not going to get hung up on that with that and to say that's, oh, here's, $5,000 more because you went to University of Phoenix online or something, that would cost them $3,000. But,
And I guess if they had a master's degree and they saw the salary and they were accepting of that, if they were hired, that's on them
yeah.
to accept that salary or not.
And
I just don't want you to spend a lot of time advertising, interviewing,
Oh,
and not
thank
getting
you,
to
nor
hire
do I.
somebody.
And so, but at the same time, I wasn't comfortable throwing out a six-figure number or what have you, and then, whoa, WIS is at 62, and so like I'm just got a pipe dream or something. And so that's where I'm coming in with that. So I guess whatever clarifications to have I's dotted, T's crossed, I appreciate the saying, go forward, young man, and conquer, okay. But I guess, again, I don't want to step on any toes. I want to do things appropriate. I want everybody to know where I'm coming from on that.
Doree, have we answered any questions that you have or concerns?
I guess my concern would probably be what Linda's saying, which is, yes, you approved the budget for 80,000, you approved the budget for 80,000, but then you came back and approved the WIS study afterwards. So we just need the clarification. So if someone would just make a motion that we're sticking with the budget and we're disregarding the other one, that would probably go better.
I guess, I see, we have to look at these consulting tools as a tool. And so we're in the range, we're not, I'm not asking 120,
Sure.
I'm not trying to hire somebody for 55.
Sure.
And so we take that, it's a piece, it's a tool, where does it fit the market, what can we get? And so I think sometimes some of these things and points, get maybe a little more heat or heavy value at times instead of looking at it as a piece of the picture. And so,
Well, we certainly value you.
well, thank you, I try.
We will revisit those in that pay band effective immediately, correct, to start?
Next year.
I think we need to.
Yeah, because there's 5 and And now we're leaving 2 down.
Dominoes.
I'll make a motion that we adjust this director's pay position back to $80,000 as is in the county budget.
I second that.
I have a motion and a second. Motion by Chip Keller, seconded by Melissa Green. I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried 6-0.
Great, thank you all, and I hope
Thank you.
to report back with wonderful success and what a bargain we.
Talent, I know it.
Oh, how about the third amendment to the Morgan County Police Retirement Plan? Mr. Sheriff?
That's funny.
Thank you, Council. I believe each one of you had this in your packet, and this was the amendment that was discussed during budget and was made a copy for you all to sign tonight, and it just drops the 10-year to the 8-year retirement for the deputies at their request and your approval, and also the 20 plus 5 early retirement. It's not really early, it's an amendment, but if they have 20 years and 50 years, 20 years on the service at 50 years of age, they could retire also. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
In my discussion with Josh Messmer this afternoon, he said what we're contending with tonight is just the approval of going from 10 years to 8 years. And the commissioners will review the information that's included in the packet that was furnished from your,
Right, that's their
Investment.
early investment. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not dealing with that tonight.
Yeah.
This is just the 8 years and then the 20 and 50. I'm sorry.
20 to
Yes.
15.
No, it'll be 20 years of service, 50 years of
50 years
age.
of age.
Yeah, that's the only,
Those two matters only.
right.
And we had some discussion back of this at budget time. Commissioners will follow up on the terms and all that are outlined
Yeah, the
outside of
other
those two
outlay,
issues.
we're not dealing with the other tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so 8 years of service, 50,
I'm sorry.
8 years of service, 50 years of age.
Correct.
Is what we're wanting to change to, correct?
Right. Yes.
Have any questions?
You're saying we're only dealing with that question, but we're not going to talk about what it does to the retirement fund? That's another different conversation.
It's my understanding from,
You've already had what it does to the retirement fund. What they're going to deal with is early, there's some payoff that would help out bringing down the retirement fund. Yes, that's correct.
But that's not part of this
Right,
tonight.
we'd actually got, the changes were, the initial to change this was approved at budget time for the 2024 budget. But then we found the issue of
The payment.
Yeah.
payment, not the budget, what we asked for the budget, changing with the pay matrix changes.
So that's why we got the other study done
So
for
the
y'all.
other
to look.
study addresses that issue, which is a longer-term issue that needs to be discussed. So really, tonight's, it was already approved in the budget for the additional, due to the pay matrix changes for 2024. For the 8-year and the 20-year with the 50-year, or 50-year of age
50.
change. So the other.
They're two different things.
Yeah, the other page is where we're gonna see about the early payoff of what we keep rolling over each year that we found. So, and there's gonna have to be some strategy kind of looked at on that, the commissioners need to look at.
Have we started talking about that? Have you guys had this? I know just at budget time, we talked about it
We've had some
an hour or so.
discussion with Josh, yeah.
Okay.
So,
So we already approved at budget time this move.
actually
So
was
what
just
are we
waiting for the
approving
document.
tonight?
We're just waiting to get it signed, just so we can have the mayor
Making
board
it
sign it and I
official.
can sign
oh,
it.
we're just,
Okay,
Yeah.
we're not, okay.
but you're not approving anything, even though it was included on there. You guys didn't have that other information. So it was just included in the packet, so you had it, so you could see what those mean.
Okay.
Yeah. But it kind of,
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the change tonight from 10 to 8 and
Yes,
20
it's otherwise known as the Third Amendment.
20 and 50.
Third Amendment.
In the Third Amendment.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Troy Sprinkle makes the motion to approve. Jason Maxwell seconds that to approve the Third Amendment to the Morgan County Police Retirement Plan. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, council. Linda, do you have the page for them to sign?
I don't think I have a signature for you.
I think Kim actually had the one.
If you don't have one, I've got one here.
Yeah, there's no signatory in there.
Okay, next on our agenda is the Qualified Entity Reimbursement Agreement. Who's doing that? Brian Collier.
Yes, ma'am. At least you didn't say Brian Andrew.
This will be no action, just educational.
Correct. This is something that we've really never done in the past. Josh and I and the commissioners, if you look at the following thing on your agenda, which is the resolution to allow us to participate in the said county in the motor fuel budgeting program of the Indiana Bond Bank. Like great things with government, sometimes you have to take one step forward to take two back to go forward. The agreement that there's not going to be any action deals with specific numbers that aren't given to us yet. And when those are given to us, it'll be a very tight window to jump into this. We're thinking based upon our fuel. We can't enter the highway department because they get their fuel from a different tax and whatnot, but between the sheriff's department and all our other vehicles, we're kind of hedging that fuel prices are going to go up. I think it's a fairly safe hedge. They go up every year. Until they give us the strike prices, we're not going to guarantee you that we're going to do this. Does that make sense? But the window to move on this, you would have to have a special meeting on a very short notice. And so we're coming for your blessing. If the numbers make no sense, then we're not going to do it. But what this does, it allows us to go in and basically purchase so much fuel, and if it runs on us, we get it at the better price. It's kind of like if you're familiar with options and puts and calls, and it's got the Indiana Bond Bank backing this. I just know when setting a fuel budget, there used to be a big difference when we would budget at $2.50 a gallon, and then it went up to $4.50 a gallon. Everybody was coming back to us and hollering that all their budgets were depleted, and we would still have 4-5 months left to go. I just think for what was presented to Josh and I, the cost, we stand to gain a lot of fuel runs, and there, to me, in my opinion, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that indicate historically fuel costs run. Not just the winter when they go from gasoline to heating fuel and they shut down the plant, switch over the plant so that you notice a 50-cent jump in gasoline, which is every year. I think there's other things that are going on. And I spoke to, was it you that said that someone predicted?
$7.
Yeah.
$7 diesel.
Is the fee or the cost of the county a fixed cost, or is it just depending on how much fuel we end up buying?
Correct. Second.
An or question.
Yeah. Correct, Chip. How's that for a good political answer? Yes, it depends on how much we set aside. In this first year, since we're new at this, Josh and I arm wrestled on whether we want to look at 50 or 75%. Neither one of us were comfortable. Josh first said 50%, and I said, everything that I'm reading on the Wall Street Journal and everything tells me that costs are on a go. Once we get the striking price and what this is going to cost us, we'll work the numbers backwards based upon 50% of what we feel our consumption was, and we got that from prior budgets and department heads, and 75%. And then we have to look at what that's on cost us. At one time, the person that was presenting this to Josh thought it might cost us about $7,000, $7,500 to buy these options to go against but we don't know how much of a spread. Like I said, is that at $4 a gallon or $7 a gallon? So once we get those numbers, it would, I can make phone calls, but we need to, it's kind of putting the cart in front of the horse, because this is a very tight window.
You said there's a short window. How short are we talking?
That's what
2 days, a week?
To make the decision.
Josh felt, per the conversation, it could be days, and when he thought, maybe 2 or 3 at the most. And I said, so,
'Cause
I said,
have
then we're
no-
not
I
gonna
have no
call the
problem
council back
Going
in.
ahead and doing this, but I would we be able to at least get an email and a day to look and say,
Oh, yeah,
or not respond at all, whatever. but-
Right. No,
Look at
no,
it
I
and
don't,
find
this
something.
is something we've never done. I just think it behooves us to get in the program, to look at the program, to get at the numbers, If they tell me it's gonna cost $7,500 and Josh and I think it's gonna save us $5,000, I'm not gonna send you an email. I'm not doing it. If I don't feel, if Keith wasn't here and I wasn't being recorded by 5 people on YouTube, or up to 5, I told Josh, I said, if we're that far off, then you and I ought to just pay it back to the county. It's just, I think it's good business. And I think it's something that, and I'm not promising that we're gonna do it. Unfortunately, this is the first year and going into it. I think we can save some money.
It's worth looking at, for sure.
Right. And it's not
And
like
it's not the
we're,
highway department, though, right? They have their
no,
own
because of
program.
the funding no, we can't.
You give a rundown of who that would include?
Just about everybody else, sheriff's department, everybody else, but we have fuel, account, gasoline line items,
in the-
parks.
In the vehicle fleet?
Because that was my question back to Josh after he spent a lot of time with it. I go, what's the max do you think this will cost? He said $7,500. And I said, what will that save us? We don't know what the strike price is and where gas will go. That will determine whether we, if it's $7,500 to buy $6 a gallon gas and they think it's gonna go to 7, then you work the math backwards and the odds of going to 6, in my opinion, is not as good as it going to 5, and definitely not as good as it going to 4.50. So yeah, once we get those numbers, I don't have a problem sending out a mass email. We won't vote on it. Keith? Bernie? No. This is just something we came across, other entities are doing it, and I thought it would behoove us to educate ourselves to the process. We've never done it.
What's the resolution number on this? We don't have a question mark.
There isn't one, and it doesn't-
For resolution
no
number.
action at this meeting.
2023.
The resolution we would act upon, the qualified entity reimbursement agreement, we would not.
I'm going to repeat that resolution number.
2023-11-6B.
Wasn't that what we just did?
Wasn't that- We just did 6B.
We did A, didn't we?
You said B, and
Said B.
we voted B.
It says B right there on the paper we signed.
What does that resolution say at the top?
Board of Commissioners authorized, this is the.
It's the debt, the wrong one got
Okay,
passed
so
down
this
to
is-
you.
It was, okay.
Yeah.
She put both of them in there. That's why, okay.
Together.
Since these were voted on in the commissioners' meeting the other day, so.
But there's not a signature page. Okay, yeah, so this one that she labeled is B.
Pile of things to sign to
Yes, we
before they,
No,
no.
don't, please don't.
Okay.
Look for a motion.
Are we square on that?
It's 6B, 2023-11, 6B.
about the agreement, and then the resolution is what you do need to take the action on to participate.
We need a motion to participate.
I move we approve resolution number 2023-11-6B.
Do I hear a second? Motion by Jason Maxwell, seconded by Troy Sprinkle to approve Resolution 2023-11-6B as in boy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
And if you'll indulge me for just 1 second to add clarity to the public, I came across this since the county what we're doing is authorizing the county to enter a program with the bond bank for the purpose of managing and mitigating the volatility, clear as mud, of motor fuel prices in order to achieve budget stability for the '24 budget year. That probably says it better than what I mumbled.
You're up there and Josh isn't here tonight. Can you give us a construction update?
Out back?
Out back and to the side?
On schedule, maybe a little bit ahead. I was talking to them before we got started today. No major setbacks. As you can see, the elevator shaft is going up, and then they're gonna go over to do the other elevator shaft. They were laughing at the amount of ground boring and compacting that they have to do in artesian, sandy, soft foundation soils. But everything's going really well. With the proximity of my office just being 2 blocks down, I get to talk to the other Brian who's over in charge of it, and he's all thumbs up. He feels very good that we're moving at the proper rate and no major setbacks. So, and
Weather has not been
I was
a
on,
holdup.
well, and being a farmer, I was watching just that with El Nino coming in, they are predicting a milder, less wet winter.
Milder, drier.
So that means we're probably gonna get 90 inches of snow. But yeah, so far, everything's in the construction world is going in our favor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brian
Thank you.
Andrew. Did Kim reach out to any of you about contacting some of our appointees? No? Well, our council appointees that are up are Gordon Crone on Board of Zoning Appeals, and he's agreed to serve again. Patty Dow on Alcoholic Beverage Commission, she's agreed to serve again. Currently, Kelly Alcala, what does she serve on?
The sewer and
Board and their
economic development.
Economic Development. We'll talk about her next time. Board of Zoning, or Board of Appeals, Sharon Tyree, local realtor, and redevelopment is Kim Meredith and Troy Sprinkle. So we're waiting to hear back if those are still willing to serve, and if not, we'll be looking for replacements named by the council on that. So I assume you're going to serve?
Correct.
Continue?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll deal with that in December. And is there other business?
Gosh.
Brian Andrew again?
I know it. Thank you for indulging me again. Real quick, an update on health insurance. We've had a health insurance trust meeting, board meeting. There are going to be some changes and some premium adjustments. Overall premium went up about 15.9%. Had a lot more claims this last year than we had in previous years. We are still leaning that the high deductible plan with the HSA is the way to go. That is, the PPO on many entities are just going away. We're not throwing people out in the street if you want to stay on the PPO, but you will bear more of the responsibility of the overall premium to that particular policy. Josh and I, along with Dree and some others, are going to do a presentation at 3 o'clock on Thursday, the 16th, to the employees, participants, And who can't make it at that time, we're also doing the same presentation at 8 a.m. on Friday, the 17th. One other thing that we're doing to help ease some of the premium adjustments, we can add to the incentive of the HSA contribution, and we're taking the single person up to $1,500 and the family to $3,000. That will help on the high deductible to absorb some of the premium adjustments that were presented to us based upon the claims. Chip serves on the board there. Is there anything that I'm missing, sir?
Nope, I think you covered it.
Just keeping you informed on health insurance. It's always a sensitive and a lively topic. Thank you.
Brent Worth, you want to give us a quick update? That's right.
So, yeah, EMS continues to be a challenge. Where I thought we would be today is certainly not where we are. I mean, we still have lots of challenges with vehicles, equipment, and staffing. We're getting some of that stuff done. We're doing some SOGs. We are making a lot of good changes. So I think we've got it in the right direction. Just the timeline of where I thought we would be was very unrealistic. So we're getting there, but it's taking a little more time, and it's a bigger challenge than what I thought it was going to be. So
Keep going forward.
yep, with everyone's support, we're doing fine. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's all we have on tonight's agenda. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Chip Keller, second.
Second.
Troy Sprinkle, all in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting is?
Next meeting is December 4th.